Strukton Milieutechniek, which translates to Strukton Environmental Engineering, is a product of Strukton Civil. We decided to do this project about Milieutechniek and not about the overall company, as we have learned that there is a big difference in culture and way of working between these parts of the company. Strukton Milieutechniek can be called a specialist when it comes to soil. They help their clients with the design, execution and solution when it comes to environmental and civil engineering problems. Besides that, they offer incident management service to solve environmental incidents, calamities and other first aid situations when it comes to environmental and soil problems. Strukton Milieutechniek is located in Breda and operates all over the Netherlands under the flag of their mother company Strukton. Strukton Milieutechniek is also located in other countries, but we focus mainly on the Netherlands. Please join us in the world of Strukton Milieutechniek.
An important part of organizational behavior is human resource management. Strukton has different ways of recruiting employees, starting with the help of employment agencies. This is the most used way to recruit these employees, as the employment agencies have large networks and have a lot of experience with finding the right person for the job. Since last year, Strukton has implemented internal recruiters, but these don't have the experience and network that employment agencies have, and that's why they have experienced some problems with it. Another important aspect, according to Strukton, is to motivate their employees. Different ways to do this are by offering trainings and education, but also by keeping track of a personal development plan, which they are trying to implement right now. Let's start with the part about education and training, which is something that is emphasized by Strukton and which is an important part of their culture. Employees can easily ask their superior or the human resource department for more information and the opportunity to educate themselves. But of course, Strukton has a critical view on this, as they have to find out if offering trainings and educations gives them something in return. The second way to motivate their employees is the personal development plan, which is implemented by the head office of Strukton. They have been doing this for only 1 year now, and a lot of employees have to get used to this way of feedback. The personal development plan consists of goals and steps to achieve these goals. The employee has to develop these goals together with its direct superior, and after the cycle, which is usually a year, the employee is assessed based on the development and the achievement of these goals. Employees have explained that this is very motivating, since the extent to which you reach your goals also determines the height of your yearly bonus. The personal development plan also focuses on multiple years, which can be very motivating and comforting for people who feel like they want to continue to work for Strukton for many more years, but it also fuels the ambition of younger employees. Other information with regards to human resources is spread throughout the intranet, but it's not used that often because it has not been a habit for many employees to check this regularly. Most of the information and contact between employees and the human resource department is sent by email, which is not something that they want to change, as it does not bother them that much. When employees have questions, they can always walk by the HRM department, because it's such an informal and personal ambience within Strukton Milieutechniek. Another important aspect of organizational behavior are the different cultures or nationalities within a company. Strukton knows there can be many different cultures within one company, but when we spoke to employees, they all feel the same culture, which they call the Milieutechniek culture. It is described as many different people from different parts of the society, and that is something you really notice. But besides the fact that people differ, they feel like they are part of one big family. The reason for this probably is the fact that the director of Strukton Milieutechniek is very welcoming, and he encourages people to walk into his office and talk to him. Strukton itself states that there's never room for discrimination and it's not tolerated within the company. Employees confirm this, and they describe the ambience as pleasant, with people knowing each other and keeping an eye on each other. Strukton Milieutechniek has around 8 female employees to 60 male employees. Employees don't describe the culture as masculine, but we know that the work field of engineering is still mainly occupied by males, which explains the female to male ratio. There are huge differences between employees when it comes to age. The company's goal is to attract younger employees, because the older employees are also going to retire in the near future. The manager is looking to spread younger employees throughout the different departments. Strukton Milieutechniek feels like younger employees can learn from the older employees and the other way around. They stimulate younger employees by offering trainings and education, and they notice that the older generation is not as interested, as this group is already approaching the end of their career. Strukton tries to implement the needs of the different age groups and they try to let them work together as much as possible because everyone has a different way of working which might contribute to the end product.
In our interview with Thomas Himmelreich and Wieske van Vught, we discussed many things concerning organizational behavior. We were told that the structure of the company can be perceived as a line staff organization. Here you can see the organizational chart of the company. It is arranged per department, director to managers and managers to employees. There's no bureaucratic environment. For example, everyone can walk into the office of the director to ask something or to fix something. They are striving for a human organization, meaning that they want a close relation between management and employees. In the next part, you can see our interview with Erik van Ham, who is familiar with both Strukton Civiel as well as Strukton Milieutechniek. Kunt u wat vertellen over uzelf en wat de functie binnen Strukton is?
Ik ben Erik van Ham. Ik ben 38 jaar. Ik ben rayonmanager bij Strukton Civiel. Daar werk ik nu al 7 jaar en daarvoor heb ik er ook al een keertje 9 jaar gewerkt. En bij Civiel en ik werk veel samen met Strukton Milieutechniek.
Kunt u de verschillen tussen Strukton Civiel en Strukton Milieutechniek uitleggen en waarom het aparte bedrijven zijn?
Strukton Civiel is een aannemer in civiel-technische werken. Dus dat zijn wegen, bruggen, tunnels, viaducten. In zijn algemeenheid. Dus wij leggen eigenlijk het grotere geheel aan. En Strukton Milieutechniek is echt een specialist op het gebied van saneringen, calamiteiten, verontreinigingen, onderzoek. En dan zie je het verschil. Wij zijn een projectenbedrijf. En zoals wij het noemen bij ons bij Strukton Milieutechniek is een productenbedrijf. Die hebben echt meer producten die ze aanbieden. En wij maken projecten.
Ja.
Dat is het verschil.
Kunt u de sfeer en relaties omschrijven van Strukton en wat er verschilt tussen civiel en milieutechniek?
De sfeer binnen Strukton is zeer professioneel, laagdrempelig. Er heerst nog wel enigszins, omdat Strukton is ontstaan vanuit eigenlijk 26 kleinere bedrijven en het oude Strukton wat van Prodo was. Is het nog wel deels een familiecultuur, maar dat zie je bijvoorbeeld bij een bedrijf als Strukton Milieutechniek zie je dat nog veel meer. Dat is nog steeds aanwezig. Het is een kleiner bedrijf, daar is nog steeds een familiecultuur aanwezig, waarbij Strukton Civiel veel een groter bedrijf geworden is en wat formeler geworden is.
Ja. Ons was verteld dat er sprake was van een lijnstaforganisatie in het bedrijf, als we kijken naar hoe de structuur is. Mijn vraag was waarom jullie deze structuur gebruiken en wat voordelen of nadelen ervan zijn.
Dat zie je vaak bij projectorganisaties, de lijnstaforganisatie. Wij maken projecten, dus onze core business is het uitvoeren van projecten. Dat is onze lijn. Daar loopt eigenlijk heel onze aansturing doorheen, door de projecten, van het aannemen van het werk tot het voorbereiden, tot uitvoeren, tot nazorg. En daarnaast hebben wij, dus dat is vanaf directie tot management, projectleiders, uitvoerders naar beneden. Ja. En daarnaast hebben wij een staforganisatie erbij, dus die lijnstaforganisatie, en daar zitten onze deskundigen in. Dus die zijn bijvoorbeeld op HR-gebied, op financieel gebied, kwaliteit, arbeid, milieu. Daardoor worden de stafdiensten die ondersteunen ons daarbij om het primaire proces voor elkaar te krijgen.
Kunt u ons meer vertellen over de leeftijdsverschillen en de behoeftes van de verschillende eventuele generaties binnen Strukton?
We hebben een zeer divers personeelsbestand, van jong tot oud. Al zien we wel dat we in het middengebied, zeg maar 30 tot 40, dat is wat minder vertegenwoordigd. Dus we hebben heel veel jongeren momenteel in dienst. Zeker bij Strukton Civiel Zuid, dus waar je nu aanwezig bent. En dan zie je dat daar de wens toch veel meer is naar flexibel werken. Andere indeling van dagen, ja. Veel thuiswerken en ook parttime werken. Ik ben voor de oude generatie, wij werken gewoon 40 uur. Ja. Maar daar proberen wij aandacht aan te geven en ruimte aan te geven. Wat je ook ziet is het invullen van de thuis- en werksituatie. Dus over een korte periode, waar de kinderen klein zijn, willen ze dan 2-3 jaar willen ze thuiswerken, zodat ze samen met de vrouw of de partner voor het kind kunnen zorgen. Ja. En daarna komen ze weer terug en dan gaan ze gewoon 40 uur werken. Ja.
Dus. Wat kunt u uitleggen over de verschillende culturen, dus ook bedrijfsculturen en nationaliteiten binnen Strukton zelf?
Het is heel divers, want we zijn een internationaal bedrijf, dus we hebben ook een Saudi-Arabisch bedrijf, een Italiaans bedrijf, Zweeds. Dus we hebben dus veel culturen binnen ons bedrijf, maar we hebben ook veel bedrijfsculturen.
Ja.
En daarnaast hebben we ook nog een keertje in het Nederlands hebben we ook nog een keertje te maken met regionale culturen, dus het Brabantse, Zeelse.
Ja.
Ik kom zelf uit het Zuid-Hollandse, ik woon in Brabant en ik heb gewerkt in de Achterhoek afgelopen jaar. Dus dat zijn heel veel regionale culturen die door elkaar heen lopen. Dus als je het over cultuur hebt, ja, dan hebben wij een heel multicultureel bedrijf.
Ja.
En daar proberen wij met z'n allen een weg in te vinden.
The aim of the research is to evaluate the level of Strukton's perceived corporate social responsibility when it comes to the two chosen dimensions, perceived protection of the environment and perceived transparency and accountability. The dimensions which we have chosen with regards to perceived corporate social responsibility are protection of the environment and transparency and accountability. Our questionnaire consisted of 2 introduction questions about corporate social responsibility, which were multiple choice questions, which is nominal. The other part of the questionnaire consisted of 4 statements about Strukton Milieutechniek, which the respondent had to rate from 1 to 5, which is ordinal, meaning that they strongly disagree, 5 meaning that they strongly agree. We did not take a sample out of the group respondents, as our research was anonymous. We could not categorize these respondents to take a sample. We generalized the group because it was fairly easy to see the average number, 1 to 5, that was given for each statement. We could also see the percentage of respondents that had chosen a certain answer for the first 2 questions, so it was easier for us to generalize the answers.
For the aspects of law, we have 2 main aspects that we need to focus on. These concern employment law and the certificates they need to obtain. For the employment part, when the company hires a new employee, they first get a 1-year fixed contract. Within this year, the company can tell if the new employee will fit in the company, if they have the same working structure, and can work together with other employees. If this is the case, then they'll get a permanent contract, which is made upon the standard contract labor agreements. For the certificates, they have 2 people constantly working in the company who make sure that the required standards for getting those certificates are being met. They have 9 certificates in total, which they need to obtain, and with these certificates they can work on train tracks but also remove asbestos. In the past they had to deal with some other law issues, for instance that they changed from name, so that everything on the legal papers need to be changed to the new name. A few years back the company was took over was Strukton Milieutechniek, and now it's called Strukton Milieutechniek.
Strukton firmly keeps the health of the employees in mind. Taking for example Thomas, that has diabetes, is handled very well, and together with the company they find a way to make it workable. Strukton also proposes a health month once a year. This is to encourage their young and older employees to live and eat healthy even more. Strukton Milieutechniek tries to sponsor lots of employee activities like Alp d'Huez, for example. To focus more on their food management, Strukton Milieutechniek encourages employees to eat healthy by nudging. They leave fresh foods behind on the table once a week, so they get invited even more to eat more fruit. Strukton also focuses on waste management. They try to. Only paper gets separated from other waste at Strukton Milieutechniek. Each office room has its own paper and others trash bin. but the only thing that they don't separate is plastic. However, the reason for this is because all the garbage is dropped together in one container at the end, and therefore it will not have any effect. About the planet itself and the CO2 emission from Strukton, they are trying to reduce their CO2 emission at Strukton by utilizing electric cars more often. They try to do this with using more lease cars or electric and green activities on their project. However, they agree that this development should go much faster, really much faster. Examples for this is that Strukton gives their employees the option to change to lease an electric car, but most of the time employees are just still in agreement with their current car or vehicle. And beside this, they do not encourage their employees to bike more often. That's really not a real focus for them. On the projects, a particular CO2 ladder must be met, but unfortunately they don't really look much further than this. Despite that Strukton wants to do more about it, the high cost of it makes it a real issue. For example, they still have lots of buses driving on diesel that they can use for even years, and changing them to electric just is not realistic because the cost will be way too high, and it will be a real shame to stop using them because they just are modern, well-working cars or buses. About the sustainable energy itself, Strukton is currently not situated in the most modern building. However, plans to improve this property will not be an option because they are renting it. Soon they are planning to move out, however, to focus on a sustainable building is not high on their list because they have lots of other criteria on which they need to focus on. At the office itself, they try to focus more on energy savings, like for example, by turning off the lights, by turning off the air conditioning when they leave. They also have the option to adjust the heating themselves at their own office. But the reason for this that they not really have it on top of their list is because their focus is the comfort of their own employees. Because they should be able to work in a pleasant and healthy environment.
If this company wants to expand, we would suggest them to go to Finland. As you can see in the chart, both Belgium and Finland are being estimated to have a lot of contaminated or potentially contaminated sites. However, we would not suggest the company to settle down in Belgium. In the Flemish part of Belgium, there are laws against the soil pollution. However, the OVAM, Openbare Vlaamse Afvalstoffenmaatschappij, or Public Flemish Waste Company, is responsible for this. Since the OVAM is directed by the government, we do not think Strukton Milieutechniek will be able to operate here as much as they would. In Wallonia, the southern part of Belgium, there are no laws against soil pollution yet. So there would not be that many projects for Strukton Milieutechniek. That leaves Finland. Finland has an Environmental Protection Act. Among others, it governs soil and groundwater conservation and remediation. With this law, Finland is forced to do something about this problem. Therefore, we think this company would be successful in Finland. In addition, the economic outlook of the country is promising and somewhat similar to the Dutch economic. We have examined important factors such as the unemployment rate, inflation rate, and the economic growth rate.
As you can see on these figures, the economic growth in Finland is very high compared to previous years. In the Netherlands, this is a bit more steady. The inflation rate in Finland is a bit higher than the Dutch inflation rate. However, they are both still under 2%, which is fine. The Dutch exchange rate is not known, so we cannot compare the Finnish rate to the Dutch one, but we can see that the Finnish exchange rate is very steady. However, the biggest issue might be that the unemployment rate in Finland is a lot higher than the Dutch unemployment rate. Nevertheless, this could also mean that more people are interested in working at Strukton Milieutechniek in Finland, which could be a benefit from them. It is also possible that the government wants to help them to reduce the unemployment rate. Because Strukton improves the infrastructure, this would mean that there are more job opportunities, which will benefit both of the parties involved. Strukton will have employees, and these employees will spend their income buying products, which will give the economy a boost, which will benefit the government, according to Keynes. When looking at the different fields of study while working with Strukton Milieutechniek, we have noticed some connections between these fields. The two fields that are closely linked together are business law and ethics. Strukton wants to change a lot about their way of working and the effect that their emissions have on the environment, but those things are not that easy. There are many rules and regulations that Strukton has to comply to because of the importance of the work and with regards to safety. They have to make the decision if it is profitable to go through an enormous amount of issues and work before they can switch to more environmentally friendly machines and ways of working. The ethical dilemmas or issues are also closely connected to the organizational behavior. We feel like Strukton's employees have a certain amount of influential power when it comes to social decisions. We think that if they wanted to change something with regards to environmental issues within the office, that Strukton wants to be open for these ideas. The way in which employees and clients look at the company, which is closely connected to corporate social responsibility, is connected to the organizational behavior and the investigative abilities. It's not only clients or customers who look at the company, but also employees. The way we look at the company in the investigative abilities part is also closely connected again to ethics, also about the view of the company connected to the society or community, and Strukton does help local communities. For investigative abilities, we also looked into transparency and accountability, which is something that is closely connected to organizational behavior. We want to thank Strukton Milieutechniek for opening their doors to us and for providing us with any information that we needed. We are glad to hear about the atmosphere at Strukton Milieutechniek. We have experienced this during the project, so thank you for that. Thank you for listening to our project about Strukton Milieutechniek.